What's up, everybody? I'm Caleb Ochoa, also known as NFL Caleb 22. This is Betting the NFL uh, Championship Week. As always, I'm with my co-host Derek Wedley, also known as DWeezy. What's going on, man?
Not much. Feeling good. Looking to come in and make a little more money before the season ends on us.
Yeah, it's sadly coming to an end. We got only three more opportunities to make some money, and we're gonna try our best to capitalize on the little games we have left, and try to make you all some money because that's the goal of this show to make y'all some money, and we're gonna try to do that here today. But before we do that, as always, we're gonna recap what happened in the previous week. And in the divisional round, we'll start with the upset of the week. And that came in the Cincinnati Bengals +5 at the Buffalo Bills. Final score was 27-10, with the Bengals getting the upset, and it was the only upset of the week. And as a preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl, a lot of predictions and future bets that were made were ruined by the Bengals. Got the dominant upset victory on the road against a 5-point favorite in the Buffalo Bills. And I feel pretty validated because I picked the Bengals, and the Bills lost this game for the very reasons I thought they would lose this game. I said last week that they would not be able to run the ball on this defense, and they weren't. It would be all on Josh Allen to make plays, and it was. And this exactly, that's exactly what happened. The Bills ran for a total of 63 yards, and then that led to Josh Allen throwing for 42 times. He only completed 25 of them, zero touchdowns, one interception, and they just scored 10 points. And on the Bengals side of things, Mixon ran for over 100 yards. Burrow spread it around to pretty much all his receivers. And like I said, it just overwhelmed them with talent the Bengals have, and the Bills just weren't able to handle it. And the Bengals, move on to face the Chiefs, who they have had some recent success against, and they're back again with back-to-back AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. But we'll see how that goes, and we'll give you predictions on that later. But for now, what did you think about this game?
I definitely think the Bills came in. You could tell by the way they came into this game. They felt they had a fighting shot the second they stepped on the field, and I think you and I both sort of hinted on it last week that that spread was too big for this game. But 5.5 points. Um, it was something I pointed out. If you wanted to take that game in a teaser, being able to tease it all the way up to double digit points, I mean, that was just absurd. So the fact that the books were putting this number where it was and the fact that it stayed where it was, I think showed that a lot of the public believed in the narrative that the Bills would go all the way. And, a lot of people were saying before this game, you included, that the Bengals were very live to come in for the upset, which, in my opinion, this game should have maybe been a 3-point spread. And at 5 points, you definitely got to look at that underdog.
Absolutely, I think that Josh Allen just made too many mistakes. He was looking shaky even in the first game, and that showed again in this game, and that's what led to them losing here. But next we got the largest cover against the spread, and that was the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia was -7.5, and final score was 7-38. This was a bad beating from the start. It was just complete mauling by the Eagles offensive line. They ran all over the Giants, 268 total rushing yards and three touchdowns. There wasn't any rust from the bye week like I thought there might be. It probably would have given the Giants a chance to jump on them early. That did not happen. The Eagles came out ready from the start. Um, had a big pass to Devontae Smith, touchdown pass to Dallas Goddard, and they score on their first drive. Eagles had complete control of the game. They went up 28-0 at halftime, and the Eagles defense were all over Daniel Jones all game. He sacked them 5 times, and he just wasn't able to run the ball like he was in the previous game. They have a lot of success when he runs the ball, and he wasn't able to do that. He only had 6 carries for 24 yards, and they only gave Barkley the ball 9 times. Like I said, and I said that before. They were using more in a receiving role, but with all the pressure that was on Daniel Jones, he wasn't able to get it out to him as much as he needed to, and the Giants just had inferior talent on almost every level in every position, and just were not good enough to compete in this game. But that's how it led to just a big old blowout and the largest cover. But what do you think about Eagles Giants?
Yes, as you said, the Eagles got out to a massive lead early and showed no efforts to slow down. I do think, as you said, the defensive line for the Eagles has been a terror this entire year. I know they have at least two players on the defensive line with double digit sacks, if not three.
Yeah, I think it's
They,
3.
yeah, I mean, what this defensive line has been doing, they cause so much havoc that the Eagles, they can blitz or not if it's up to them. It's not a I have to blitz in this situation. I can bring 3 4 guys and still get the same amount of pressure as 5 or 6. The way these guys are getting into the backfield, and in this game, that was a big factor. A prop I was able to get on for the game was over 5.5 sacks in this game. And as you see, the Eagles got 5, the Giants put up 1, covers the number. But I
Yeah,
expected a big performance out of the Eagles, and I would have not been shocked if they covered this number by themselves.
absolutely. Yeah, like I said, just complete dominance by the Eagles. We'll see how well they play coming up this week. But um, as far as my own picks, just went 2-2 in the divisional round. And then overall, still have a winning record 49, 46, and 3. So on the positive side of things. My best pick and also the bad beat of the week was the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 8.5 at the Kansas City Chiefs. Final score was uh, Jaguars 20, Chiefs 27. And, it wasn't the blowout that many were expecting, nor the line was suggesting that it might be. With the ankle injury to Patrick Mahomes, it made the throws. But even with that injury, he still made the throws to stay ahead in the game. But it just was enough to cover the spread. 2 crucial turnovers by the Jaguars pretty much cost them the game. They had a fumble at the Kansas City 9 yard line. They were about to go in and score, and they just fumble. Running back just fumbles there, and then Trevor Lawrence just throws an interception as they were driving, and he threw a pick on the 50. It just kept the Jaguars from scoring on that drive as well. Those are 2 scores they could have had, and they couldn't get it done. And it probably could have won them the game, but the closest they got was about 20-17. It was a 3-point ball game, but so they kept it close enough with a late field goal, and which got them the late backdoor cover, um, which ended up being why it is my best pick, but also the bat beat of the week for those who were laying the points with the Kansas City Chiefs. But your thoughts on Jags Chiefs?
This was one where last week when KC came up, a hot topic was you're talking about a spread that's almost double digits, and we've covered extensively just how much of a fade the Chiefs are when facing a large spread like that.
Absolutely.
Now, as you mentioned, there was multiple instances where points were left on the field. They may have not gotten a touchdown in some of those instances, but you're still talking about points basically being left out on the field by turnovers. So there's a good potential that this game could have come down to a late second field goal instead of a field goal for a backdoor cover. And you know, last week that was the way I was leaning with it, and it worked out in my favor. Now, could the Jags have possibly reached the end zone the way they were moving the ball? There's a solid chance for that, but to get inside, some of the numbers we were seeing, whether it was 8.5, 9 points in some places, they definitely got inside that. And anybody teasing this game, for the most part, was never in doubt as far as the side would be concerned.
Yeah, definitely. That, like I said, great pick for me. Like being on the right side of things on that one, but I was on the wrong side of things on the most important game for me, which was my worst pick, and it was painfully the Dallas Cowboys +4 at the San Francisco 49ers. Final score was 12-19. I mean, like I said, just rough one for me personally and betting wise as well. Just complete disappointment all around. The Cowboys had the early lead. They missed the extra point as they uh, uh, did in the previous game, having trouble with the kicking game, and then two costly interceptions was probably the difference in the game. Dak did not have a good game, didn't play well at all, and he wasn't helped. We had no running game. Pollard went out of the game with an injury. He's broke his leg. Um, the only player making plays for the Cowboys was CeeDee Lamb, um, and that was pretty much their only playmaker on offense. Brock Purdy wasn't really doing anything special. He didn't do that great on his side of things. But Kittle did make plays for him, and that pretty much ultimately won him the game. They were able to win it on their second to last drive when they just ran it down on the Cowboys defense, who were just worn down by that time late in the game. They had been playing well pretty much all throughout that game up to that point. They were pretty much shutting down the 49ers offense for the most part. They were just put in rough spots due to the turnovers. And then I thought both defenses did play excellent games, but one offense was a little better than the other and didn't turn over the ball. And that's what pretty much led to the 49ers getting the 7 point win and covering the spread. And yeah, just overall bad pick for me, and just even worse for the team I root for. So, but what are your overall thoughts on the Cowboys Niners?
We definitely saw a lower scoring game, which is not surprising given the defenses that were on the field for both teams. It was just that simple. Now, yes, Purdy didn't go out and have that rookie game that everybody's still waiting on. And as we've said in this offense, that's all you have to do at the quarterback position is not make mistakes, and this team will get you to victory in one fashion or another. And in this game, a couple turnovers that could have potentially, led to a few more points. Last week, I thought this game could have. Um, I was leaning more to the Cowboys covering on the spread and possibly losing outright, but
Plenty of
being
chances to, but
yeah, no, that's what
not
I'm saying.
close.
Even with watching the game, I wouldn't want to use the term that the Cowboys were dominated in this game, but it sure felt like they were always fighting uphill. And the way the turnover game worked out, it didn't add to that equation well. And so, yes, they lose by a touchdown, but in the end, a lot of people are still wanting to fade the 49ers because, Brock Purdy hasn't had that game yet. Well, he might not. I mean, it's that simple because with the team he's got around him, he can lean on his teammates, and there are not many quarterbacks in the league that can say, I can lean on my wide receiver, I can lean on my running back, I can lean on the defense, I can lean on the offensive line and the blocking schemes. So, there's a lot going on there in the 49ers' favor.
All right, how did you do on your side of things?
Um, it was about a 50-50 week. One play that I am starting to like and may get into more next year as the season kicks up is targeting anytime touchdown players that might be a minus number and pairing that in a same game parlay or a two-leg parlay with the money line where last week we had the Kansas City Chiefs. If you took Kelsey anytime touchdown paired with the Kansas City money line, you were getting a plus number, if not close to a plus number. Yeah, that brought it down to minus 118. This is a situation where a lot of people expected the Chiefs to win. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
it was a game where we expected them not to cover the spread, but nobody felt that they were. Yes, they could have lost the game, but in the end, most people felt that it would be KC moving on to the next round from that matchup. And so, in instances like these where you can potentially bring down a couple higher numbers and get it to a plus number or a more definitely a more reasonable juice to deal with, I'd gladly rather pay minus 118 on that versus potentially trying to play, Kelsey's anytime touchdown, possibly minus 140, minus 160 by itself. There's a big difference there. And there's a good chance if Kelsey scores a TD, KC's winning the game. And, this is something you can work in a couple different matchups in certain instances, but I think it's something to definitely look into for next year, earlier in the season when you potentially are getting a, a plus number or at least a better number in some of these touchdown markets.
Yeah, I definitely think that's important that as we get down to less and less games here, getting in those different types of props and with just picking spread or money line bets to spend the game. Just giving you more options to win some money there because there's just not that many games. There's only 3 games left in the season, so get on those props. It'll give you more opportunity to win some money. But before we make our picks, we like to help you guys out. If you guys can help us out by hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and if you would really like to help us out, you can join our Patreon. The link is in the description down below, and join whatever tier that suits you. But now we will get into our picks for the conference championships, and we'll start with the NFC championship, and that is the San Francisco 49ers getting 2.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go with the Niners and the points in this one. I do not believe the Eagles will run the ball like they did against the Giants. The 49ers have the second ranked rushing defense in the league. It's going to be tough going if they think they can just go and run all over them. Um, this will put Hurts in a situation where he's going to have to make the plays for his offense, and I don't think we've seen that in the playoffs yet. That he's capable of doing that because he didn't do that last year, and he didn't need to last week. Um, so we still have yet to see that from him, and we'll see if he can do it. And I don't think he can. So I'm going the Niners. The Niners have enough playmakers on their offense to cover up the flaws and inexperience of Brock Purdy, which I think will be enough to win the game. I think they can counter the Eagles' pass rush with their own offensive line play. I think they're pretty good on that, especially with Trent Williams uh, um, on their side of things. But 49ers are 9-1 against the spread in the last 10 games, undefeated straight up with Brock Purdy as their starter. And the Eagles are just 1-4 in the last 5 games against the spread. So I like the Niners. Who you taking?
As you said, it's definitely, I think it's going to be a tough defensive matchup between these two teams because, you know, yes, they match up well as far as having good units in the right place. Got a great defensive line taking on a very solid offensive line as far as the Eagles and San Fran, as well as San Fran having a rock solid defensive line and defense in general. Um, I mean, it's hard to back Purdy, and I got to go that way. And something I was just talking about. You know, you want to take Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown with the money line, which is already a plus number. Talking about plus 202, and in this game, I'd have to take the Niners outright. I you know I've said before, I think the Eagles can make it all the way to the Super Bowl, and I would not be shocked if they win this game. But if the 49ers come out and play to the best of their abilities, I don't think the Eagles will be able to outmatch them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles did win. That's why I'm gonna take the points, even though it's only 2.5. I'll take any little bit I can get because I do think it's gonna be a very close matchup. So if I can get 2.5, I'm gonna take that and ensure a little more insurance to win that bet. Um, but next, we have the AFC Championship game, and that is once again back years Cincinnati Bengals plus 2.5 taking on the road and Kansas City playing the Chiefs. With the Mahomes ankle injury, I find some questionable for the game. Obviously, I do think he will play, but he will be much less effective than he usually is. Um, won't be able to run as much. I think we kind of saw that in the last game. He's having trouble just limping when he was trying to run the ball, and he wasn't able to really get out of the pocket like he usually does, roll out and make the spectacular throws that he's used to making. He's gonna have to sit in that pocket and make the reads and make throws from there. And this might force the Chiefs to run more. And if they have to run more, Bengals are very good at stopping the run. They are a top 10 rushing defense. The Chiefs' defense definitely can be exploited in the passing game, um, especially by Joe Burrow, who has had plenty of success against the Chiefs. Joe Burrow is 3-0 straight up against Chiefs. The last three games, and they were covering each time, covering the spread each time in each of those games. The Bengals are 13-3 in the last 16 games against the spread, and are on a 10-game winning streak straight up. And the Chiefs not good against the spread, and we've been saying they're not a good covering team all season. Even going back to last season, they just don't cover spreads. It's probably because they're very overvalued considering who the quarterback is and everything, all their success. But obviously, the odds makers overvalue them quite a bit, and I think they're a little overvalued here. They're just 2-5 in the last seven games against the spread, and 7-11 um, in the last 14. Or not last 18. I mean, for the season. So I like the Bengals getting a couple of points, and I'll probably outright too. I think they get the straight up win. I think that Joe Burrow goes 4-0 against the Chiefs.
Yes, I definitely think this game could hinge heavily on um, Patrick Mahomes' health going into this game. I think it's something that people need to monitor closely before taking one side or the other. Looking at a couple numbers, I think the books are expecting a slightly lower offensive output than people might expect from this game. We are seeing a total that's currently about 47 and a half. Um, you know, that I'd have to double check. I'm not sure if that's on the par with some of the scores we've seen in the past matchups between these two teams, but that definitely leans towards less points, more defense. Um, as you said, the Bengals have a very strong run defense that has helped them out throughout the season. Um, I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they could go off big in this game. Now, me personally, I set up a little bit of a hedge play where, as I was talking about, these same game parlays. You want to take the Bengals on the money line plus Jamar Chase anytime touchdown. You're looking at plus 190. On the other side, I decided to do the same with Travis Kelsey in the money line for the Kansas City Chiefs, and you're looking at plus 182. So either way, you're looking at nearly a unit profit. Now, yeah, there's a little bit of risk that the winning side, you don't have the right person with the touchdown. But if we're talking about these teams getting roughly about 24 points in the game, we're talking about at least 2, 3 touchdowns being scored in these games. And you're looking at the, I don't want to say main touchdown producers, but one of the main and viable threats to score a touchdown for these teams, which I think is very live, even if you just want to take one side or the other.
And like I said, Mahomes is questionable. If he is out, he probably will play. I mean, he's Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think he wants to miss a championship game. But if he doesn't, how much points does that shift the line, in your opinion?
Honestly, it's going to depend on when news like that would come out. If we're talking about it coming out in the next 24 hours, we could potentially see this line move. You know, they're giving you a point. That's them being generous. Honestly, if this line moves because of a player injury like that, it'll jump to 4 almost immediately, I believe. And people seeing that movement, money coming in, we could likely see this number get up to 6.5, 7 by Sunday. And this being isn't this the later game?
Let me check. I have to see about that.
Yes, yeah. They
Yeah.
So yes, there's a very strong chance that if something like that comes out in the next 24 hours or so by Thursday, we could see some major movement out of this line. Now, if that news comes out, late Friday night, early Saturday morning, you might see this number stay around 4. Um, but yeah, do expect this line to move um at least to the Bengals minus 3.5 if it comes out that Mahomes wouldn't be starting.
And what would you take that?
I think I would honestly.
Yeah, I probably would too. I mean, I already think they're going to win, but especially I think they can cover that type of spread without Mahomes on the other side. Um, because I feel confident even if he does play that he probably won't be 100% obviously, and there's that. Any last bets for championship week?
Um, Not too much that I see currently. Of course, I'm definitely gonna keep my head in some of these lines because as I mentioned earlier with that sacks prop that I found, um, that was the type of thing that was able to find later in the week as more lines and props come out. Um, but so it's definitely beneficial to come back through and check, see what some books are putting up, potentially what numbers have moved. Maybe a prop you didn't like at one number, it's moved up, and you maybe like the under now, and vice versa. But yes, I'm definitely gonna keep hunting out some of these lines as we get closer to Sunday, and see what value there is.
Yeah, let's see what the over under is for these games. If we got the over Bengals Chiefs is 46 and a half. That again that would determine by Mahomes' health, of whether I would pick the over if they both start, Jerome Burrow and Mahomes, and I like the over in that game, and then I like you said mentioned previously that a more defensive battle in the NFC Championship, probably like the under and the Eagles 49ers in the over under is 45 and a half on that one. So yeah, I'll take the under on that one.
Yeah, I think I definitely have to go with under. I'm seeing 46.5 for Philadelphia Eagles and Niners. There's just too much defense in that game for me to think about touching a over on the game total. And the sad thing is, both of these teams have the type of offense where they could potentially cover or get damn close to covering that total by themselves. We saw, the Eagles go out last week and put up, what was it, 35? Um,
It was 38.
yeah, see? So literally one more score in last week's game, and a total like 46.5 would get covered in a game that was a complete wash. And I think with both of these teams, the 49ers, they have the type of team where, yes, they can go put up 30, 35 points. The same goes for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the real question will be which offense can figure out the defense first. And if it's a game where neither offense can really get going or clicking, under 46.5 could become a very live possibility.
All right. Well, that is all of our bets for the week. Hopefully, you guys win some money this week. That's definitely what we're trying to do, win ourselves some money. Um, but we will be back not next week, the week after, for our Super Bowl bets, and we will have plenty of props for you guys. So it won't just be the game, won't just be the over under. It'll be many props for you guys to bet on. The biggest betting bet game, most bet game of the year, and that is the Super Bowl. And we will be live for you that week, giving you all the props and all the key bets you need to make for that game. And yeah, we're gonna make some money on the Super Bowl. But for now, you can tell the people where they can find you, DWeezy.
Yes, y'all can reach me at Backyard Action Media here on YouTube. I'm also currently dropping a lot of videos on TikTok with NBA plays. So if you do bet on the NBA, then feel free to come check me out there as the season continues. It's same name, Backyard Action Media.
All right, and like I said, you can find me at NFL Cap 22 on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on this channel on Mondays doing Good Friends, Better Rivals at 3 o'clock with my co-host Ferris McDonough. We talk Cowboys, Giants. We're going to be continue to talk Cowboys, Giants every single week. Any news stories, any that come out on our teams, we'll be talking about it, and other news stories going around the league. Um, and then you can find my articles that go along with this show on our website, and that is let'sgetreadynetwork.com. Um, so yeah, go check all that out. And like I said, next week, I mean not next week, we will be off. The week after Super Bowl week, tune in. I'm telling you, tune in. I went perfect last week. I went 5-0 on my main picks, on my main bets last year. I was perfect on the Super Bowl. I called it perfectly. I'm hoping to do that again. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for that. And take my advice. I mean, go with my bets. I'm pretty good when it comes to the Super Bowl. So definitely tune in next week, in 2 weeks on the Super Bowl week. But for now, like I always say, let's get ready to make that money.